I gave my quietest student a different way to participate in class discussions. What she revealed left the entire room speechless the first time I noticed Bully sitting in the back corner of my English literature class. She was trying her hardest to disappear. Head down, oversized hoodie pulled low, flinching whenever I scanned the room for volunteers. Teaching high school seniors means navigating a complex ecosystem of personalities, party over a cleaver shooting their hands up before I finish questions, the class clowns turning everything into a joke, and the silent observers like Bully who hoped to make it through the year without being noticed. For weeks I tried the usual approaches, gentle encouragement, wink and discussions, written responses she could prepare ahead of time. Nothing worked. Each attempt to draw her out resulted in near panic, her eyes welling with tears when called on, responses barely audible. My colleague suggested anxiety, maybe selective mutism. Some kids just can't handle the spotlight, he said with a shrug, but something felt different about Bully. I'd catch glimpses of her scribbling furiously in a notebook that wasn't for my class. During discussions of Sem the Great Gatsby era, I'd notice her silently mouthing arguments to herself, then deflating when someone else made the same point aloud. After she nearly hyperventilated during a required presentation, I asked her to stay behind. I want to try something different, I said, sliding a small whiteboard across my desk. Next class, bring this. When you have thoughts but don't want to speak, write them down and hold it up. No one will call on you, parent. I'll just incorporate your ideas. The skepticism in her eyes was clear, but she took the board. The next day, during our discussion of Fitzgerald's symbolism, I noticed a hesitant movement from the back corner. Balsy had written in neat, tiny handwriting, "The green light isn't just Gatsby's hope, Prudence America's false promise that wealth equals happiness." Interesting perspective from Bully, I said casually, weaving her observation into the discussion without drawing attention to her method. The relief on her face was immediate. Within 2 weeks, her whiteboard contributions became the most instant in the class. By month's end, classmates were specifically looking to her board for reactions. What does Bully think became a common question. Then came our unit on personal narratives. After reading Angelou's I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, I asked students to write about using their voice paired or feeling voiceless. When Beale submitted her essay, I realized why traditional participation had been impossible for her. Born with a severe stutter that led to relentless bullying at her previous school, she developed such severe anxiety around speaking that each attempt felt like drowning. "The words are always there," she wrote. "They're clear in my mind, formed and ready, but my throat closes like Kara's hands around it when I try to release them. So I learned to swallow them back down until they harden inside me." With her permission, I created a modified discussion format. Sent could contribute verbally through whiteboard notes or via our classroom messaging system projected on screen. Suddenly, our discussions became richer with insights from students who'd previously remained silent. On the last day before winter break, as students filed out, I heard an unfamiliar voice. "Miss Johnson." I stood at my desk, hands trembling slightly. We wanted to say. She took a deep breath, fighting through each word. "Thursday, thank you for hearing me before I could speak." It took her nearly 30 seconds to complete those few sentences, but she held eye contact the entire time. Sometimes the loudest voices in our classrooms are the ones that never make a sound. Sometimes teaching isn't about getting students to speak up, but about creating spaces where every form of voice can be heard. Maya is now leading our school's initiative to create more inclusive discussion formats. Her voice per tart in whatever form it takes per tall has become impossible to ignore. Clations.